Well, hello, all of my students. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Jay, and welcome back to another episode here on the channel. So, recently, one of my students left a comment and they said, "We want podcasts like Luke's English podcast with PDF link. Please consider." And I said, okay. So I had to do some research to find out who Luke's English podcast was. And I must say, he is doing a phenomenal job. And he has been doing English for a number of years. And so after studying his information, I said, okay, if this is what my subscribers are asking for, let's see if that is what they will enjoy. So here we are. I have put together a lesson today to teach you ways that you can improve your English. And so we're going to dive in, and I'm going to redo my podcast. I've done 41 episodes, so this will be the next episode in line. Okay, so I hope you're ready for some learning and some laughter. Let's dive into today's lesson. Today's lesson will help strengthen your listening and comprehension skills. As you read and listen with me, try to understand the meaning, the examples, and the story. Because at the end, you should be able to answer a few simple questions. Today's expression that I am going to teach you is throw caution to the wind. Just listen to that again. Throw caution to the wind. It sounds bold. It sounds risky. It sounds like you are letting go of control. And in a way, that's exactly what it means. Throw caution to the wind means to take a risk and stop being careful. And let me just say that is exactly what I am doing with today's episode. And that's one reason I came up with this particular lesson, to teach you about throwing caution to the wind, because that's what I'm doing. I don't know if you guys will like this or not, but I'm throwing caution to the wind. In simple terms, it means you stop worrying and just do something, even if it feels risky. Let me say that one more time in a very simple way. You stop playing it safe and you go for it. I know pretty much by now what you guys like on my channel, so this is a risk. I may only get a few interactions, comments, or views, but I'm throwing caution to the wind, okay? Now, this expression can be positive or negative depending on the situation. Sometimes it means courage, and sometimes it means careless. So you have to understand how to use it. For example, if someone says, "I throw caution to the wind and started my own business," that is usually a positive situation. It means they took a chance to improve their life. But if someone says he threw caution to the wind and spent all his money, it sounds more negative. That sounds like a bad decision. So the key idea is this: you are taking a risk, but the result depends on how you do it. Now, let's look at a few clear example sentences that I put together. He threw caution to the wind and applied for a job he thought he couldn't get. She threw caution to the wind and moved to a new city by herself. I threw caution to the wind and started speaking English with strangers. And that is something that you should do, because the only way you're going to get better is practice. So there are times you must throw caution to the wind and just go for it. They threw caution to the wind and invested all their savings at once. Now, that would be careless. Sometimes you have to throw caution to the wind if you want to grow. Now, I want you to notice something. In each sentence, the person stops being too careful and takes action. That's the key. Now, let me tell you a short story to better help you to understand or to further understand what it means to throw caution to the wind. Marcus was 38 years old and worked the same office job for over 10 years. Every day felt the same, and he started to feel stuck and unmotivated. So when you feel stuck, it's a way of describing that your life has come to a standstill. You're going in the same circle. There's nothing new. There's no new experiences. You feel stuck. You feel complacent. All right. And so now Marcus is about to do something. He always wanted to start a small online business, but he was afraid of failing. He kept his ideas in a notebook, but he never took action because he wanted everything to be perfect. One day, his company announced layoffs and Marcus lost his job. At first, he felt scared and uncertain about his future. But after a few days, he started to think differently. He realized this might be the chance to change his life. So he decided to throw caution to the wind and finally start his business. The first few months were difficult, but he kept learning and improving every day. And that's what you have to do in life before I conclude the story. Even when you mess up, you must keep going. Every day needs to be a moment that you take advantage of to be better than the previous day. That's one reason I strive to give you guys English lessons every day, because if you are consistent, if you are diligent, then you will see fruit or be rewarded. And sometimes having one English lesson a week doesn't help you to become consistent. And so I take it upon myself to be a good example and show you, look, we can do something every day. And if I can do it and teach you, you can do it and learn. Let's find out what happened to Marcus. After 1 year, his business became successful and he felt proud that he took that risk. Now think about that story for a second. Marcus didn't wait until everything was perfect. He took a chance, and that decision changed his life. But remember, he didn't act without thinking. He took a risk, but he stayed consistent and worked hard. That's the difference between a smart risk and a careless risk. So life is full of risk, and you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to feel like giving up. You're going to feel like quitting. But that's what makes life adventurous. You have to pull yourself together and be determined, be resilient, be dogged, and say to yourself, I can do this. Okay? If others can do it, I can do it. May take me longer, may get there quicker, may take me a little bit of more effort, but eventually I'll get there. I just have to throw caution to the wind. A smart risk means you understand the danger, but you still move forward. A careless risk means you don't think at all. Now let's connect this to your English learning. Many learners are afraid to speak English. They worry about mistakes. They worry about sounding wrong. So what do? They stay quiet. They play it safe. But if you always stay quiet, you will not improve. I must say, that is so true. You gotta take a chance. You gotta take risk in life. Sometimes you need to throw caution to the wind and just speak or just do something according to your plan. Even if your sentence is not perfect when you're speaking English, even if you make mistakes, because confidence does not come first. Confidence comes after action. Let me say that again. Confidence comes after action. So if you want to improve your English, you have to try. You have to continue. You have to be consistent. Now, before we finish, let's quickly review the meaning again. Throw caution to the wind means to take a risk and stop being overly careful. It means you act even when you feel unsure. Unsure means you are not completely confident or certain. Now, here are some questions for you. I want you to think about and answer down in the comments section. Have you ever taken a risk in your life? What happened? Maybe you took a job you weren't familiar with, or the career wasn't you didn't have experience in that particular career, but you took a risk anyway. So answer that for me. Have you ever taken a risk in your life? What happened? Whether it was good or bad. What is something you want to do but feel afraid to try? Do you think taking risk is important? Why or why not? When is it good to take a risk? And when is it dangerous, in your opinion? How can you throw caution to the wind when learning English? Take a moment and think about your answers. Press pause if you need to, but answer at least one of them, if not all of them, down in the comments section. Remember, sometimes in life you have to stop waiting for the perfect moment. Sometimes you have to trust yourself, take a deep breath, and just go for it. Okay, we use this expression, throw caution to the wind, when someone stops playing it safe, takes a chance, does something bold or risky. It can be positive, trying something new or going after a goal. Throwing caution to the wind can be negative, making a careless or dangerous decision. Okay? Now, how to express it. Now, before we continue, let's talk about something important. If we say throw caution to the wind, it means you stop being careful, but that also means we need to understand that it means to actually be cautious. So what does cautious mean? Cautious means being careful, thinking before you act. So cautious is an antonym or the opposite of throwing caution to the wind, okay? And protecting yourself from risk. And being cautious is not a bad thing. In fact, it's very important. The goal is not to remove caution completely. The goal is to use it wisely. So here's some simple ways to be cautious in real life. First, think before you act. Before making a decision, ask yourself what could happen. This helps you understand the risk. Second, start small. You don't have to take a big risk right away. You can take small steps and learn as you go. Third, have a simple plan, a strategy. Even a basic plan can help you avoid big mistakes. You don't need everything perfect, just a direction. Fourth, learn from others. Look at people who have already done what you want to do. What worked for them? What didn't work for them? And fifth, prepare for problems. Ask yourself, if something goes wrong, what will I do? This helps you stay calm and ready. So being cautious means you're aware, prepared, and thoughtful. But remember, if you are always cautious and never take action, you can become stuck. I want you to remember my story about Marcus. He was unmotivated, complacent, he was stuck, and we don't want that to happen to you. So at some point, you got to take a risk and just go for it. And that's when you need balance. Sometimes you stay careful and sometimes you throw caution to the wind. Okay? Now, here are some final questions. And I asked these earlier, but I want to reiterate or ask them again. Number one, have you ever taken a risk in your life, and what happened? What is something you want to do but feel afraid to try? Do you think taking risk is important? Why or why not? And when is it good to take a risk? And when is it dangerous? And how can you throw caution to the wind when learning English? Okay? Wow. I'll tell you what, if anything, this style should help you to not only listen to what I'm saying, but to read. And you know, on my channel, I enjoy reading stories. So I am pretty sure this is going to help you guys. If you like it, make sure that you are letting me know or giving me a like if you want me to do this again. Okay, let's look at some practice sentences. He threw caution to the wind and started his own business. She threw caution to the wind and moved to a new city alone. Remember, I did these earlier, but let's review. I decided to throw caution to the wind and speak English with strangers. And finally, sometimes you have to throw caution to the wind to grow in life. All right? All right, so we have learned a new phrase. We've learned what it means. Throw caution to the wind. We learned an opposite of that particular phrase. I've read a short story. I've given you practice sentences, and I've given you some questions that I want you to answer down below. Do you like this new format? Should I do this format again? It's not quite an hour, but we'll get there, okay? So this one is somewhere almost close to 20 minutes. Maybe I'll make the next one longer, but again, I was throwing caution to the wind and I was taking a risk. And instead of doing my normal style lesson, which is a English from the news lesson, I thought I'd do a podcast episode and try something different based upon the recommendation of one of my subscribers. So let me know how you guys feel about this, okay? Did you like it? Don't like it? Do it again? Don't do it again? I asked maybe 2 weeks ago, should I just do an audio version where you can just listen to me, or do you prefer it like this where you can see me, okay? Let me know all of those great answers down in the comments section. That's going to do it. I'm not going to make today's episode too long because I don't want to waste your time. And if you like it, I'll do it longer next time, okay? Well, with that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure that you get some rest so you can join me on my next English lesson. I'll see you then.